Folks, isn't this right here quite the sight to behold? This is the capital of our protector, the capital of the Tsardom of Russia, and of course something that many people might be calling the Third Rome. We're Greece here in 1875 and we have just won the war of the liberation of the North. As you can see, a whole lot of territory has now become our own. And all of this really only worked out because, well, the Greeks rebelled, and whereas the Serbians previously rebelled, the Bulgarians rebelled, and the Albanians rebelled, the Greeks actually had support, both from us and from Russia, which turns out is hugely helpful if you want to move on and actually win that independence war. Well, the way it is right now is that our rather conservative owner, King Otto von Wittelsbach, the King of Greece out of the Bavarian noble house, he is of the opinion that this state can only exist in the Russian sphere. This is one of the big things that I did at the end of the last video. We basically decided, you know what, I would like to, after everything, after all of our independence and our struggle to sort of maintain our own market, we would like to join the Russians, largely because if we do, we will firmly become a member of the Greek Orthodox, but much more importantly, the actual reactionary sphere. This Greece, make no mistake, is incredibly reactionary. We had to give a constitution, we had to liberalize quite a bit yet again, but that was far from voluntary. That was something that we had to do because people otherwise would have revolted. And even now, despite this massive success that we have just gained by taking these territories, the intelligentsia is quite unhappy. The petite bourgeoisie are also radicals, and if I'm not mistaken, I thought there were more radicals. Oh yeah, the rural folk and the trade unions. The rural folk actually quite possibly becoming non-marginalized going forward. We are in stormy times and we need to prevail. And I think the only way to really do this as a reactionary regime is inside of the Russian sphere of influence. Now, we are actually, interestingly enough, not the only ones. If we check the market, you can see that Egypt has indeed joined the Russian market. Russia views itself as the protector of the entire Levant and, of course, of the Balkans. There's a lot going on there and hopefully a lot going forward. Now, I do want to address one last thing, and that was, of course, the event, the Greek state, the one that triggers the Megali idea, and that is, man, I don't know, that event is a bit of a weird one, okay? I chose the option where we just said we should celebrate what we have. I think that is fine. Obviously, yes, we are now in the Russian sphere. The Russians would be interested of being the protectors of Byzantium, right? Of the Eastern Roman Empire. That is definitely in their interest to make them the true heirs to Rome. I didn't pick that option because honestly, man, I gotta tell you, that whole event should maybe go into the bin because the third option in particular just wasn't fitting in any way whatsoever. Let's forget about that event. I haven't made a choice whether we want to become Byzantium, whether we want to remain as Greece, and what even is possible. You can see that Byzantium here indeed includes a whole lot of territory. Whether we will ever get this, it's already 1875 after all, we shall see. For the moment, let's just skip over this question. I think the internal politics of Greece are right now primarily how many rights should the Greeks have, and is the King of Greece really bound by the Greeks rather than just by his own virtue of existing, right? I think, with the fact that we have now joined the Russians, I will actually undertake a change. Maximilian von Wittelsbach will be Orthodox. Our heirs from here on out shall be Orthodox indeed. Now, the other thing is that, man, we have taken all this territory, and it's great territory. I mean, we have so many unemployed, so many free workforces here now that we previously just didn't. We hit our limit, and all of a sudden, you can see it right here, we have a whole lot of peasants that we can indeed integrate into our economy. It shouldn't be forgotten, though, that since these territories are homelands of our nation as well, they are instantly integrated, and you can see the consequence right here. What we're going to do is, I will take a look at this. I don't want to build anything there, thank you very much. I will build this government administration for sure, and you know what? Let's just move that up. The port in the Congo is important, but I don't think it is this important. And then we will go on and build actually some more government administrations indeed. We need to make sure that we can actually maintain our state, because otherwise we will have a really bad time. Oh, and this is already so much better. I need to come into the positives, and for that we need to build an economy that can service the Russian economy. I think we're largely looking at dye, maybe at some more tobacco. Surely we can build a very agrarian... Oh my god, wait a minute. Oh, right, that is why we got this colony. We now have access to coal. Oh, thank god. Okay, we're going to be a new job creator down here. Well, we have to. Oh, and as I'm going through production methods, of course, none of the production methods here are correct. I'm finally noticing that there's actually silk in this market. We so far, you know, now I'm actually able to look at this. We can use, of course, sewing machines. We can go on. We can use all the wood in the world because, well, this is the Russian market. So yeah, we're definitely going to be much, much better off economically speaking as well, just because now sulfur and wood and all that stuff is all of a sudden available, which previously was quite difficult. Man, I can even just use glass here and actually produce some more services. I think our economy is going to be booming just because of course, yeah, look at that. We can even use this now. Oh, joining the Russian market, I think, was a great choice. And you know, I do have to wonder, when will this escalate? The North German Federation is essentially Germany, but apparently not quite. The North German states here aren't supporting them. And sooner rather than later, it's now 1875, I think we're going to be seeing this escalation between them and Austria-Hungary so that they can then actually form Germany. And with a formed Germany, I wonder what is to come in the following years. France currently allied to Russia and, of course, still protecting the Ottomans, which we hate, but hey, it is what it is. Then Germany has a defensive pact with Egypt and the Netherlands. Yeah, these rivalries here all make quite a lot of sense. I think Italy, interestingly enough, actually positioning itself fairly friendly with the Austrians and very hostile against the Germans. I don't think too many of these things, except the French alliance, really stand in our way. Even Great Britain now has become protective, but man, I really wish the French did drop the Ottomans. It would be perfect for us. And I mean, what are we going to do with you here? So Crete now exists, and Crete is not in a good spot. I think you can see this right here, okay? What is your wealth level? It is 7.4. That is terrible. We need to take over Crete, I think, sooner rather than later. And quite frankly, why wouldn't I do it right now? Right? Russia supports this as well. They want a takeover of the country through us. We do have the ships, and we do have the manpower. And man, well, this isn't historically accurate. Historically, Crete desperately wanted to join Greece. I think this is the quickest thing that we can do, and it makes a lot of sense because, well, it's Greece. Oh, and France has turned belligerent. Man, I don't love it. Both Britain and France have not been on our side here. It really has been just Russia. And I mean, Austria has been looking, but they haven't aided us in any of this either. Now, a defensive pact would be quite nice. This might be our ticket out of the Russian sphere long term. Obviously, Otto doesn't really want to do it. He is quite content here. But for the time being, Austria being willing to take us in to protect us is definitely a big, big draw. How are you doing internally anyway? Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so they are dealing with some social issues. They have universal suffrage, they have cultural exclusion. Man, they have some pretty decent laws. They got closed borders. Oh, that is insane. Historically speaking, Austria-Hungary obviously didn't have closed borders. In fact, in the 1880s and 90s, a lot of minorities in this region migrated to America because, well, the conditions were quite lackluster and everybody was quite angry, and Austria-Hungary still existed. But with closed borders, yeah, nobody's leaving this country, huh? And there's the battle. You can see our navy isn't big enough, but it does not really matter because, of course, we just have such a massive numeric advantage. Crete will fall. Let's treat it as just us taking over. I don't think there's a lot of conflict here. This is just us adding another part of the Greek puzzle to our nation. Ooh, and that is actually quite the useful technology right here. Look at that. We will produce as much food as we humanly can because, of course, that is in the interest of the king. Oh, and what do we have here? Speak of the devil. We have Kaiser Karl Ludwig von Wittelsbach threatened now by King Friedrich von Hohenzollern. This is over German leadership indeed. They want to take Württemberg and Hohenzollern quite aggressive. I guess they want to kick out the ancestral home of the Hohenzollern right here. Let's see who joins this, whether anybody joins to begin with. France opposing the NGF here might actually be, you know, what it takes to destroy them. But other than that, I would be very surprised. Yeah, look at that. The NGF is far, far superior in virtually every way. If this wasn't just the penultimate step to actual German unification. Very, very interesting. We're going to have a very tense Europe for sure. Okay, well, I think we have our answer for how this war is going to go. Austria-Hungary is also simultaneously facing a rebellion by a capitalist revolution. Let's take a look at this. Cultural exclusion, very basic stuff. Slavery ban, protectionism, interventionism. What is going on in Austria-Hungary that they are... Oh, right, it is this. It is the question of who should hold the power. Should it be, you know, the farmers, the peasants, the common citizen, or should it be the upper elite? And the answer here seems to be maybe Austria-Hungary is about to perish. Who is the supposed... Oh my god. How the hell are we in a scenario in this game where we're getting... just rulers for revolutions that actually make sense? Usually would have Gunther von Kurzbach-Schwarzenberg here instead of Kaiser Franz von Habsburg. He's a radical, man. He dislikes being a monarch, but he might win this, and who knows what is next for Austria. Holy moly, I gotta tell you, I'm very surprised by this, but I'm excited to find out wherever that is going. Now, on a personal level, obviously it has to be said, we cannot support the Habsburgs, we support our family. Not that we can get involved here, spoilers, we can't, we don't have an interest up here, but that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If the Habsburgs come back, and if they have a Kaiser who literally hates being the Kaiser, who knows what sort of monstrosity we will see here. Yep, and Crete is ours. Not too surprising. Let me just check. What were you building? I don't think we care for... What? Okay. I did not mean to shut that down. Don't worry about it. We do have a port. That is the most important part, obviously, because then we can actually get access to our market. I will immediately change all of this. How are you doing in terms of... nope, you have perfect access, so that is not too worrying. We're going to try and sort of enable these people here to live a normal life yet again, after we took over half of Crete here at the very least. You know, now that we are finishing up this port, I think it is time that right before we finish it, I will take over the Congo. I was playing with this thought in the past, right? I was saying maybe we can secure this territory here for ourselves, even if we, of course, settle it very slowly. And I think we want to do this right now. I will simply, you know, we could make you a puppet, we could make you a dominion. No, I think I will simply straight up conquer you. The Congo must be ours, and I will establish the order immediately. Yeah, wow, and nobody is helping Austria-Hungary. They might even just give in, quite frankly. Wow, they're apparently letting it come to a war. Well, I mean, that is the end then. The NGF will definitely destroy them. The question is just, will the NGF be capable of actually annexing the others? I would assume so. Usually when the candidate is outed, you know, you can just get everybody to agree with you, but we gotta see, we gotta keep an eye on this. This is definitely quite interesting. And there you go, the port has been built. We have stationed our troops. The Congo will fall. Oh, wow, yeah, and this was incredibly swift. Germany immediately finishes this. Now, can they form Germany in just a couple of seconds? The Austrian capitalist revolt, by the way, will 100% win this. The Habsburgs are back on the throne, and he is disliked. What is making him so disliked? Arrogant, diplomat, and opium addict. Yeah, they chose the perfect Kaiser here. Oh, there it is. Man, this was incredibly swift. I cannot believe this. They legitimately challenged the Austrian-Hungarian emperor, which is of our dynasty. The emperor immediately faced an internal rebellion. Germany destroyed the emperor within like 2 seconds and then formed Germany just with Hamburg missing. They will annex Hamburg, don't worry about it. That is something that they will do. They will turn against them and then conquer them. But man, Germany has just entered the sphere of powers. Kaiser Friedrich von Hohenzollern is among us. Landed voting, cultural exclusion, freedom of conscience, not yet colonial affairs. We shall see how they do. But man, this is going to be quite intense. And there he is. Kaiser Franz von Habsburg has established himself. My God, can you believe this? We are in a position where Austria has gone from the Habsburgs to the Wittelsbachers to the Habsburgs again, and 99% strength, now that they have of course succeeded, to the industrialists. He is also a radical. Maybe they will liberalize further, and I mean, I think it is very clear here now that the Austrians aren't our compatriots at all. How do you feel about... Oh wow, seriously, everybody loves this new Austria, I guess. We shall see how this goes. Now let's take a look at our new possessions here in the Congo. We are looking, yep, at very low market access. We definitely need to take care of the port. Obviously, we could also push ourselves into a position where we just have more access, but all of these locations are empty. And with the mod, by the way, you're looking at a situation where people don't really want to migrate into, yeah, well, what is basically exploited territory. You can see it right here, minus 90% migration attraction from colonial exploitation. There's also turmoil. Nobody is coming down here, which means these buildings are for naught. I will get rid of most, if not all, of the urban buildings, and then drastically ramp up production in, I think these local sort of, you know, just creating value on a local level via textile mills, via, of course, furniture manufacture. I think this is fine, but we're not going to take it any further. Yep, this is all gone. And then the rest will be, man, and we already have so much here. Holy moly, they built up all of the arable land already. Interesting. Do we have unemployed people here? Nope, okay. Okay. I see how it is going. I think we just gained a massive, massive colony. This should be crazy important for us, actually. Yep, and speak of the devil. We already had one revolution, then we had another threatened revolution that forced us to actually liberalize yet again. Ooh, and Austria would like to work with us. Listen, if you want to work with me, I would like to work with you. Obviously, I assume that, my relatives are safe in Bavaria, in Germany. But hey, that doesn't mean that we need to oppose one another. Austria is a major power. Wow, that is embarrassing, my friend. That is so embarrassing for you. We're looking at a situation now where they are saying, hey, wait a minute, we're still not content. Things aren't right. Yes, you might have Russia backing you up, but do you really want all that blood on your hands? And I'm going to be honest with you, I think King Otto von Wittelsbach, when it comes to just giving some sort of right of assembly, I don't think that he will go against that. I think he will just accept that this is the way things are going. He does not want another war of bloodshed. Obviously, there are some things that are non-negotiable, be it, for example, the monarchy, be it national supremacy, and now state religion as well, as we are Orthodox, but maybe even serfdom would be something that we could negotiate with the rebels. Right now, of course, allowing them to protest, I mean, hey, it's the minimum we can do. Let's hope that they don't go any further. Yep, and I think it's good that we came to an agreement with them right here, because you can see that the Congo secession is indeed happening. Obviously, I think we should be capable of reclaiming this, but we are not welcome down here. That much should be sure, or should be clear. We're doing well with everything. I think we sent some people back to the arable land. Of course, you can see that it's still not quite full, which is decent, and they are producing a whole lot, giving us a huge amount of GDP here. But hey, this is only natural. Our rule isn't uncontested because we just took over. We gotta strike them down. Oh wow, and it passed on the very first attempt. We're definitely going to win this because we kept the port here, actually. We took control, or we kept control of the Greek Congo, and so Bas Congo will indeed be defeated quite easily. But things are still very much escalating. Yes, we might have the right of assembly, but police brutality is still going on, and it should be apparent to everybody that I'm not going to downscale the police. The level 5 institution here has served us quite well, and it is going to serve us going forward as well. Oh, and we can produce... Man, this is such a great resource situation. I mean, coal here is really just something... I wish we had it. We sadly don't have it. But we got coal down here now, which is hugely beneficial for us for sure, should we ever go independent again. And more importantly, in my opinion, because it is a backbone of our economy, we can now produce silk as well. I'm going to build up a very, very rural-oriented sort of industry, I think. We're going to here go with more tobacco. Tobacco can always be used, right? I mean, what's the drawback? And then, dye is produced in the south, of course. We can't do any tea. Let's do some more tobacco right here as well in Thessaly to get this economy going. Thessaly has so many peasants. Obviously, building that up would be hugely beneficial. Oh, okay. What is going on right here? Germany sides with Spain. So Spain, quite some time ago, went and made Liberia into a vassal. You can see it right here. It is a puppet. And now Russia... Russia has emerged with colonial ambitions. I guess it's because... Oh, I know why it is. It's because Russia has an interest now in Africa, because we are, well, a part of their market, a part of their sphere, making it so that all of a sudden they are saying, hey, wait a minute, if the Greeks can have these colonies, maybe I can have these colonies. I'm not too surprised, because France obviously also has a French ally right here, and if Spain is truly siding, in general, with Germany, then France and Russia coming to blows with Germany over, something as minuscule as this doesn't surprise me at all. This is going to be a major war that we are luckily not going to be involved in. At the very least, it doesn't seem that way, but man, Russia has some ambitions, and I think I'm literally directly to blame for them. Yeah, and the rebellion here in the Bas Congo is indeed basically dead. This was an interesting thing. They rebelled so soon after us taking over. Obviously, a huge shift in operations. See, normally, when the AI takes over, you can see it right here, they puppet them, and only afterwards will properly integrate them. I skipped that step. I just straight up took over the Bas Congo, and you can see the reaction right there. You can see also that we're building up these colonies very, very slowly, seeing how we're over colonial capacity and how we're not actually generating all that much. I really need some more colonial tech, and I really, really need to invest in the colonial affairs right here. We're going to do that fairly quickly, I think, or fairly soon, because that is going to be the big difference maker, I think. Yep, and it does look as though Liberia is going to fall. Obviously, Germany doesn't have the capacities to protect their ally down here, although they are actually winning both the fight right here in Russia, and I think, yeah, they're at the very least holding on against France right there. It's a fairly even match. Now, France didn't even, there's not even a tacked on war goal against France, for example, for Alsace-Lorraine, but be that as it may, this is, I think, something that will set in motion the balance of power in Europe for just the about, maybe like the next 2 or 3 decades. Germany and Spain and France and Russia have found one another as allies and as enemies. And there you have it. Russian Liberia. Well, that is a sad state of affairs for them for sure. Spain wasn't much better. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still slave traders. Yep, they are still slave traders, but Russia coming in. I mean, you've seen Greece. We hate our own people just enough. Russia now in Liberia surely is not going to have a good term. Oh, but Spain is actually liberalizing. Total separation is being introduced. Interesting. We have a fairly liberal Europe. I say fairly because, well, you know, these are all still monarchies, of course. Yep. It is all immediately going back. So this war ended, Russia won for Liberia, but now we have something else here. France wants to conquer Fouta-Jalon. You see it right here. This is, of course, an area that France and Britain have clashed in a number of times already. They also want to open the British market. I guess they want to assert themselves, and then Britain says, Germany, listen, you want Alsace-Lorraine, don't you? Why don't you help me in this? I gotta tell you, previously, sure, Russia won the war against Spain, however, Germany was already this close. They were in Latvia. They were nearing Ingria, and with that, a capitulation for the Russians. I think Germany might be getting Alsace-Lorraine here. I honestly think the axis France-Russia is weaker than the axis Germany-Britain. It's gonna be interesting. Oh, and Belgium has actually sided with Britain. How did they do that? Is this just a promise of an obligation? Oh yeah, it is. Wow. 1879. We see Britain and Germany stand against France and Russia. A massive war, and I dare say, the edge here is definitely with Germany. How's Austria doing at this point? We dislike them, I guess, slightly. I mean, we dislike them more than we liked the other faction beforehand. Italy really not that interested in reclaiming their territory, huh? Quite interesting. Oh wow, and this whole thing escalated yet again. Segu, one of the miners, is actually working with Britain, and that is not all that dumb. Because think about it, if Segu works with Britain, and if Britain owes them an obligation, they might be protected long term, but there's a huge but here. France immediately responded by saying, listen, if I get my hands on you, Western Mali is mine. I think, I honestly have no idea how the colonial war here will go. This is a huge question mark, just absolutely massive. This could end with the annexation of Segu, of Fouta-Jalon. It could end with Fouta-Jalon, of course, you know, kept in British possession. It could end with Alsace-Lorraine faltering. There's a lot of questions that I have here, but man, that is a massive conflict, and over a whole lot of land, actually. Alright, now let's examine this bit by bit. The French are destroying an uprising here of a decentralized nation of Ulata. That shouldn't be that big a deal. The Russians are defending French land here with just an expeditionary force, yep, and they are not winning. This is a British success story right here. On the other hand, the French are also losing Sierra Leone, and that means it does seem as though Segu has definitely bet on the right person. That means Segu won't get annexed, that means Fouta-Jalon won't change hands, and then if we expand this a bit, yep, look at that, the Germans are pushing for Paris. I think we're going to see a victory on the British and the German side. France put into the ground once more. I can only pray. Listen, obviously this is bad for us because we are in the Russian sphere. I can only pray that France loses its ambitions in the Middle East, because this defensive pact is a thorn in my side. That is actually so crazy. The Russians are holding back the Germans here in Poland, but then both Alsace-Lorraine and, of course, the front line here with Belgium is a loss for the French. I think they're gonna get wiped here. Oh my god. There's no way. Are you actually losing against... Wait, no, this isn't Ulata. Segu has taken to invading France, I think, here in the Sahara as well. This is a complete loss for France. Oh, is it though? What the hell is going on? This is a massacre. And oh, it looks as though Fouta-Jalon... This might be a, you know, a two-sided peace deal almost. Interesting. They haven't reached Paris quite yet, but they're definitely going to get there. I think Alsace-Lorraine will fall, but Fouta-Jalon might also go to the French. Interesting. Yep, there you go. Segu has fallen in its entirety. Man, this is a massive front shifting right here. Again, you can see the difficulties that France has defending their colonies, but... I mean, this is pretty clear. This is a very obvious story. Ooh, and what is going on in France? Wait a minute. They are having... Restore censorship. They are liberalizing as well. Protected speech even. This is a wild Europe. And how often do you see this? Belgian flags in the suburbs of Paris. Man, this will be one of the last times that we look at this city model, I think, for France and for Paris, because of course the upcoming DLC Voice of the People is going to change a whole lot there. But yeah, you can see, I definitely think we're going to see a bit of an exchange here. Britain itself won't have to give up its colony. This one, Segu, has already fallen. And then Alsace-Lorraine to Germany. Now, this all, by the way, has been truly terrible for us. I mean, genuinely awful. Because whenever Russia goes to war, our market access plummets. I I think that this alliance is really good, it's really great, and I love it. But also we might leave sooner rather than later. Oh yeah, and on top of this, I almost forgot to say it, we have a Turkish secession. And man, that could be a pretty hefty movement if it were to occur. The chances here aren't too high for all of these to flip, but man, let's hope that they just don't do it. Obviously, our country is currently undergoing some shocks. Yep, our standard of living is plummeting every time this escalation happens, but we gotta see what we can do here, okay? Right now, obviously, this is a difficult time that the Turks in our country see as a chance, sort of, to, you know, maybe not be as oppressed. Honestly, with how things are going, we might have to declare bankruptcy as well. Floating harbor, that is very, very nice, but man, things just aren't looking too hot, and we have a very small Turkish secession here, huh? Interesting. I think I can literally just ignore this. We're gonna have him clean this up. We have a succession right here of the fluvial Bantu. That is the second, and with that, it will also be done, actually, secession. We're gonna deal with this, and then I think the troops here in garrison, they can just hang out. They will contain them, and then once Andreas Pieros comes home, I don't even need to mobilize anybody else. He can take care of the uprising indeed. This is a tough as nails time. And it's actually just like clockwork. Excuse me, we face pressure from everywhere. Everybody is mad because, well, Russia was involved in a war that is now over, by the way. Alsace-Lorraine is German, and Germany is immediately taking care of Hamburg as well. I told you about this earlier. They're doing it. They're getting it done. And while our market access is now being restored, obviously people were and are still understandably angry. And this now means, honestly, I don't know. This is going to be a rough one. I don't want to give in to universal suffrage, but they certainly are demanding it. It wouldn't push anybody into a revolutionary state if I did it, but if I can avoid it, I would rather just not do that. Man, we have instituted serfdom. And yet, the Greek people are rebelling against us. I guess it's just the fairly high education. Our literacy rate is pretty decent, in particular in comparison, of course, to other countries here on the map. Yep, we are indeed green. We're better than France and Austria, but much worse than, for example, Germany, Britain, or Scandinavia. It's really interesting, but right now it doesn't seem all too promising for our reactionary politics. Not to mention that reactionary politics with Russia seem to be failing. Alright, and you know what? Before we leave it here, holy moly, this is an uprising chain of events, and I love this. I've never seen this before. This Monday uprising in France is one that is accompanied by the Fulbe uprising. France is having difficulty. France, I assume, had a very similar market breakdown. Let me just check this here, right? If I'm not mistaken, then we're going to see, yep, there it is. This is the French GDP dipping because their market access has been cut off. And as the market access got cut off, their control over their colonies got cut off as well. And this has now started the Monday uprising. And you can see it right here. Our Monday that live in Greek Guinea are also getting in on this. I wonder whether the Monday are also unhappy in Britain, but I doubt it, because if you think about it, Britain is the one that cut, of course, everybody else off. Yeah, look at that. So the fact that Britain basically destroyed our trade and our control over Africa now makes it so that France and us are facing a massive, massive uprising. The biggest uprising of any given culture that I have ever seen in this game. Now, surely, with about 44 troops, they will not succeed. But my god, this is the call for freedom. I just wish, I should say, that our Greek citizens didn't take any example from this. Stop trying to get universal suffrage to happen, okay? It's not happening. A devout scandal is also occurring, and this guy is a theocrat, right? Wasn't he? Yep, theocrat. It has been revealed that Christodoulos Pantazidis of the Orthodox Church has been having a secret affair with a member of the clergy. We could force him to step down. That's a good question. I mean, they are in government, and they are a protector of the old order, although they personally might want to see us going into theocracy, although the military, of course, would never let that happen. I think he is, yes, a part of the military, but a rather disliked part of the government, I should say, but rather a disliked part of the government. I'm going to force him to step down. We're going to see we got a jingoist. Oh, man. Yep. We have a jingoist right here. We have a royalist in the armed forces. We got, I believe, a jingoist right here in the industrialists. I think we're gonna now rally around the flag. We're gonna rally around, of course, the prosperity that it has brought for so many, although you can see the continuous wars of our overlord are not doing us any favors. Alright, and with our locals and with the locals in our colonies pacified once and for all, which by the way is a huge side effect, because this now actually gives us a claim right here. Jesus Christ, we get to claim this, and it'll take quite some time until we actually colonize all of it, but that is pretty decent. We also have elections, and these elections are interesting because sure, the Russian party is dominating as always, but I think our trust in in it is quite a bit eroded, seeing how now the French Party and the Free Trade Party combined are almost 40%. Not to mention that now Trifon Patrikios is, having his event, for whom the bell tolls. The Trifon Patrikios, leader of the landowners, has unexpectedly expired mid-campaign, robbing the Russian party of a cornerstone politician. The question of his replacement is now on everyone's lips. Right, we could go with the popular but inept candidate, or the determined but hearty youngster secures the chair. I'll be honest with you, okay? We have been incredibly reactionary, and we still are reactionary, there's no doubt about it, but it hasn't really been working. We have been through uprising after uprising after uprising, and sort of, clinging to Russia here isn't really the best choice, seeing how Germany and Britain are simply the absolute powerhouses in Europe right now. The result being that maybe our landowners need to rethink something as well. Let's take a look at who they got. A moderate. You got a moderate out of that event. Well, I mean, I guess it's not reactionary. Maybe we will make some concessions, although we can definitely sit out a couple more reforms as well. Yeah, and getting this unpopular candidate, a moderate that most certainly doesn't stand in the tradition of the previous fella, I reckon we might have to form a bit of a compromise government. We shall see. A secession in Indonesia as well. Oh, and it looks like Nejd is being conquered. Yep, that is treaty port for the British. Man, the imperialism here has been through the roof, let me tell you. Things have really been popping off. Alright, and now before we declare this episode over, let me ask you the following, okay? With this new sort of makeup, with this new direction, do you think that maybe, potentially, we should try to form this government? I can get this going beyond illegitimate if we were to actually put down our taxes. We can do that. We can try that. If we found ourselves in a position where this was our government, I mean, listen, we don't have to get rid of the monarchy, but there would certainly be quite something here that we could do when it would come to changing our makeup in the country. Some things are working, some things are not working. Do we pivot or do we not pivot? Make sure to let me know in the comments. For the moment, I will leave you right here in 1883 with this absolutely gorgeous world map. You can see we are securing the Congo for us. We are still in the Russian market, and Russia is still strong. But clearly it is past its peak. Let me know what you think, and I will see you later, alligator.